Welcome to episode 335, Sean Parker, 9 Lessons. This is an outline of episode 335, lesson 1 to lesson 5. This is an outline of episode 335, lesson 6 to lesson 9. Sean Parker is a genius, but he's also a very contradictory and polarizing figure. Lesson number 1, he's the father of InternetViral. When he was 20, and that was the year 2001, his company Napstar reached 70 million active users, then a world record. Lesson number 2, he's a serial entrepreneur. He was directly or indirectly involved with 4 important startups. First, Napstar. Second, Plaxo. Third, Facebook. Fourth, Spotify. Number 3, the advice from his father on risk. Bruce Parker, who was an oceanographer for the U.S. government, told his son, if you're going to take risks, take them early before you have a family. The result, Sean Parker made a conscious decision to skip college to become an entrepreneur. Lesson number 4, he started as an elite hacker. By the way, Mark Zuckerberg also started as a hacker.
Which made us fight much harder to retain access to it, and then, over time, it became our lives. It took over our lives.
Here, you started coding when you were 7 years old. What kind of a kid were you?
I think I was generally a pretty good kid, up until a certain point when things went a little bit off the rails.
What point was that?
We call it hacking now, which has both positive and negative connotations, but this was the computer underground in the late 1990s. It was a breeding ground for many people who went on to become successful entrepreneurs, but at the time we were really interested in computer security, and it had a way of sucking you in because there was an element of danger, there was an element of there was an intellectual challenge associated with it, and as I became more involved in that world, I became less involved in my day-to-day life. Everything was probably going fine up until about the age of 14 when I discovered this world and thank goodness I did, because if I wouldn't have learned to code, I wouldn't have learned about the early internet, I wouldn't have built Napstar. So I owe a great debt to that small cabal of people.
Lesson number 5, he was kicked out from 3 companies, 2 of which he co-founded. I think this is a world record. First, he was kicked out of Napstar when the U.S. government shut down Napstar in 2001. Second, he was kicked out of Plaxo because VC like Shriram did not trust him. Shriram hired private investigator to follow Sean Parker. Third, he was forced out as president of Facebook after he was arrested with cocaine, although he was never implicated. Lesson number 6, you need a complete team.
And do we think this team can create a compelling vision? Because oftentimes the vision that they initially present doesn't end up being the business that they create. So is there someone on the team who's a visionary, who's agile and nimble and can come up with lots of ideas? Mm-hmm. Is there someone on the team who's a great engineering leader who can recruit a lot of engineers? Okay. Is there a great core technologist who can build the initial technology, who's like a real hardcore developer? Mm-hmm. Is there someone on the team who can watch over the business, do deals, basically relieve all the other people of that burden of having to go and hire people and deal with human resources and operate the company and deal with legal and so forth? And in every company, the balance is different, but you have to get a complete team. Okay. And so most of the companies we see, we don't even get past the first meeting because we can see so clearly that their team is missing certain critical pieces.
Okay. Lesson number 7, he is not an operator.
Interested in your take, knowing him very well, on Sean as I've covered him since he very first launched Plaxo. And, there was a long time when everyone in the Valley just, hated Sean, and he was just, seen as like the worst thing that could be in venture capital. Like Peter Thiel got so much flack when he hired him for Founders Fund. By the same token, he then, after Justin Timberlake played plays him in a movie, becomes called this guy with the Midas touch, which he has never actually sort of launched his own commercially successful company. And like that's what I would think of the Midas touch as being. I mean, brilliant at spotting product, the things you're talking about, but like is not an operator.
Lesson number 8. He's a great disruptor of 2 industries.
Sean wants to shake things up. He wants to be a disruptor. He wants to solve problems. He, instead of just starting a company he thinks will make money, he spends sometimes years looking at the problem he wants to solve. For Napstar, for example, he saw that the world's going to be shaken up. Because of the internet, you can take content out of his container and trade it through digits. Okay, how does that happen? That Napstar was a solution to that problem. Facebook, he was looking for a way to have identity in a world with online. You can be totally anonymous and create fake avatars and pretend something else. Facebook is a way to guarantee that there's identity on the internet. So that was why he got involved in Facebook, not like...
Lesson number 9. He figured out what young people wanted. Sean Parker foresaw the big power shift of the internet.
Then we look at market size. How big is this market really? And that, I mean, that excludes 99% of ideas. The market is just not big enough.
Now, a very large number of people that are online that are young. And, they have a completely different sense of how the world works and what power is and what authority ought to be. I mean, it's a profound shift. It's the difference between vertical authority, God-given, physically enforceable authority, and horizontal.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your questions and comments below. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.